Let's go on a little trip to the future. It's April 2029 and the Secretary General of the United Nations is holding an emergency press conference announcing that the European Space Agency's optical station in Tel Aviv just made a discovery that'll change the world forever. An asteroid the size of Central Park is hurtling towards our planet at 89,000 kilometers per second and it's bound to impact Earth in 2 days. He asks everyone not to panic and assures the citizens of the world that governments will do whatever it takes to stop the asteroid from ending humanity as we know it. But what can governments really do? Well, let me tell you what they can do. They can call this guy. When it comes to spaceflight, Elon Musk's SpaceX is the biggest kid on the block. Forget about the Chinese or Russian space agencies, don't even mention the Indian, French or Japanese space agencies. SpaceX launches more rockets than any space agency in the world. So in the event that humanity urgently needs a rocket to save the world, Elon Musk's our guy. But what if it's too late to change the asteroid's trajectory? There's a chance that it's simply too late to do anything about a potential asteroid impact. In that case, humanity relies on people in outer space to repopulate Earth. That's if there's anything left to repopulate. If Earth becomes uninhabitable, only the astronauts that are in space when disaster strikes will be able to start a new civilization. And guess who's been working on getting people to space? People think that it's the money that makes Elon Musk powerful. They think it's the hundreds of billions that make world leaders drop whatever they're doing to meet with him when he visits their country. Well, let me tell you this, it's not the money that makes him powerful. It's his dominance of strategic industries that makes him powerful. Whether it's EVs, rockets, tunnels, brain-computer interfaces, Elon Musk always manages to dominate the industries he enters. In this video, we'll take a look at SpaceX and how it has come to dominate the aerospace industry. And we'll take a look at the steps Elon Musk is taking through SpaceX to guarantee himself a place in the history books as the most radical innovator of our times.
Мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
In February 2022, Russia started an all-out invasion on Ukraine. An hour before the invasion started, it launched a massive cyber attack that crippled Viasat, the company providing satellite internet across Ukraine. Russia did that in order to thwart Ukraine's defensive capabilities. A genius tactical move because you can't organize a defensive effort if you can't communicate with your soldiers. Your whole logistical machine falls apart when you can't tell your commanders how much fuel you have left or that you're running out of rations. That's why 2 days after the start of the Russian invasion, Ukrainian Minister of Digital Transformation Mikhailo Fedorov took to Twitter to ask Elon Musk to provide Starlink terminals to Ukraine. You see, SpaceX has a subsidiary called Starlink that has thousands of satellites orbiting Earth while beaming internet to every part of the globe. The only thing that Starlink users need in order to access the internet through this system is a small terminal that can connect to one of the thousands of satellites. If an adversary was to attempt to jam a Starlink terminal, it would need to precisely aim its jamming device at the antenna. This requires the attacker to get close to enemy troops in visual range of the terminals, exposing itself to enemy fire. Even if the enemy tries that, the terminal can just rotate away in order to connect to another satellite. On top of that, the data carried over the Starlink network is also encrypted with software in the terminal programmed to block off signals without the encryption. All of this made Starlink a crucial capability that the Ukrainians needed to fight back. It's no exaggeration to say that when Elon Musk started delivering thousands of terminals to the Ukrainians, he single-handedly prevented Ukraine from falling into Russia's hands. A piece of information that's very much underreported in my opinion. The Russo-Ukrainian War provided the first opportunity for Elon Musk to show off Starlink's geopolitical importance, but it will definitely not be the last. The ability to communicate will always be crucial in times of crisis, whether it's a war, natural disaster, or some other anomalous event. That's why Amazon, Boeing, and other companies, together with the European and Chinese, are all in the process of launching their own satellite constellations. But all of SpaceX's competitors have one big problem. They simply can't build their own satellite constellation as fast or as cheaply as SpaceX did. This has to do with SpaceX's most important and guarded technology. Imagine how much air travel would cost if airplanes had to be discarded after every flight. If both the supply of airplanes and the demand for air travel stays the same, tickets would be in the millions per passenger. the low supply of airplanes would lead to an extreme rise in the price of air travel. This exemplifies the current condition of the market for rocket launches. The fact that rockets are disposed of after every flight has an extreme effect on the price per kilogram that's launched into space. In this graph, you can see the effect that reusability has on SpaceX's price point. It's able to launch rockets for much less than its competitors, simply because it doesn't throw away every rocket after it launches. And it's important to realize that SpaceX is just at the beginning of its cost-cutting journey. It's this capability that allowed SpaceX to build out Starlink relatively cheaply. That's also the reason why competitors will not be able to overtake SpaceX anytime soon. Elon Musk has invested a lot of resources into reusability early on in SpaceX's journey, knowing that this would be crucial if he ever wanted his company to dominate the industry. Nowadays, rocket landings are a common sight. Even though SpaceX is still the only company with this capability, every single competitor is working on developing this capability, and thus SpaceX's advantage is bound to slowly erode away. Elon Musk is highly aware of this, and so he's already working on the next technology that will cement SpaceX's role as the preeminent aerospace company. In 2012, Elon Musk first publicly announced that SpaceX would build a rocket whose capabilities would surpass those of any other rocket in history. A rocket standing an impressive 121 meters high, with a diameter of 9 meters. It would be capable of delivering more than 150 metric tons to low Earth orbit, while also being reusable. When this rocket eventually comes online in the coming years, SpaceX will launch the aerospace industry into a completely different era. The same way Ford moved the auto industry forward with the Model T. Multiple use cases have already been proposed by both public and private entities. NASA, for example, already contracted SpaceX to build a lunar lander. The Lunar Starship, also known as HLS, is scheduled to land humans and cargo on the moon as part of NASA's Artemis program in 2026. SpaceX also intends to use Starship to launch even more Starlink satellites into low Earth orbits. Considering the price-to-weight ratio of Starship, Starlink would be able to grow its constellation for even cheaper than it does now. The United States Department of Defense has also shown interest in using Starship for transporting humans and cargo at high speed to any place on the planet. General Stephen Lyons of the US Transportation Command said, quote, "Think about moving the equivalent of a C-17 payload anywhere on the globe in less than an hour," unquote. DoD has also shown interest in procuring Starship as a government-owned and operated asset under the umbrella of the Space Force, not unlike the way traditional fighter jets are now owned and operated by the Air Force. Other use cases have also been proposed outside of the defense realm. Airbus, for example, already contracted SpaceX to launch Starlab, a space station developed jointly by Airbus and Voyager Space that is meant to be a destination for both professional astronauts performing scientific experiments, as well as space tourists and other commercial clients. Then there's the one use case that dwarfs them all, and that's transporting humans to Mars. Elon has mentioned on multiple occasions that his ultimate goal is to land humans on Mars in order to colonize the planet and make humanity multi-planetary. According to him, that has always been his end goal. I'll have to make another video about this since it's worth its own deep dive. Considering all of these different use cases and the ones that we can't even imagine yet, SpaceX is on its way to becoming the most geopolitically strategic company out there, which is reflected in its market value. As of February 2024, SpaceX is the second most valuable unicorn, after TikTok's owner, ByteDance. And so, these are the reasons why I think SpaceX has a bright future ahead of it. I'm not the first one to say it and it won't be the last, but if SpaceX stocks were publicly traded, I would sell everything I own and buy as many SpaceX stocks as I could. Not financial advice, by the way. Anyway, that was it for today's video. In the next video, we'll take a look how Chinese EVs are about to dominate the automotive industry. Well, they might already be dominating the automotive industry since BYD is already the largest. Anyway, see you in the next video.